Joining us on the program, Ben Carter, Executive Director of the Dallas Safari Club. Ben, how you doing tonight?
Yeah, great. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Thanks so much for coming on the program, sir. Wanted to talk to you a little bit about H.R. 4089, the Sportsman's Heritage Act, which passed the House of Representatives. We heard from Congressman Jeff Miller earlier in the program, but I wanted to talk specifically about progress that this bill makes regarding the importation of legally hunted polar bears. This is an issue that I think probably a lot of hunters and sportsmen aren't even really aware of.
Yeah, back at the end of the Bush administration, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife got the polar bear uplifted to Appendix 1 and immediately ceased allowing importation of the trophies, which was really pretty rare. Usually in the past, they've given a 30-day window for you to go ahead and import trophies so that there wasn't just so that you didn't lose your trophies. So this was pretty much unprecedented that they went immediately to no importation. And, some of these hunters, there actually were 41 hunters that were affected that took polar bears, that their polar bears are all still up in Canada, and they've not been allowed to be imported into the United States, which is a real travesty. Some of these guys, it was a hunt of a lifetime for them. And, I'm not really even sure why, the CITES had not listed them as Appendix 1 animals, but the U.S. Fish and Wildlife chose to make that ruling on their own, that they felt like they were endangered and needed to be protected, where you couldn't hunt them or at least not import the bear hides anymore.
Right. Now, of course, Ben, we've talked about the lack of science involved in that determination to put the endangered species list designation on the polar bears. The population is not even threatened in terms of the numbers, and in fact is growing. But again, that's probably another issue entirely. What help is provided for those hunters who can't get their polar bears back into the country, even though they've already been hunted?
Well, I tell you, the Dallas Safari Club started working on this problem as soon as it happened. We have a lobbyist in D.C. on the Hill, the Lemunion Group, and we actually, there were hearings. The Natural Resources Committee had some hearings. We brought up one of our members, Roger Warder, who came up. He's from Arizona, and he testified in front of the committee about his whole experience, and that he was actually a veteran and had saved up to go on this hunt, did everything he's supposed to. Thing is, all these guys did everything legally at the time they did it, and then now they're not able to get their trophies back. More recently, in the last year, we sent another member up there to testify in front of the Natural Resources Committee. We've got a number of people on our side up there, and really this is a big victory that this resolution came out of the House. Instrumental was like Don Young, Congressman Pete Sessions, Congressman Flores, Congressman Jeff Landry, Paul Brown. And we've got people on both sides of the aisle that made this happen. So we're real happy and real positive about that. This is one step. The next step is to get it through the Senate, and we know that we've got sportsmen on both sides of the aisle in the Senate that support outdoorsmen and hunters, and we're very hopeful that this is going to happen.
Absolutely. In the meantime, Ben, on the larger issue, do you see any progress possible in getting the polar bears off of the endangered species list? I mean, the bottom line is this is not stopping the hunting of polar bears. This is actually just preventing U.S. hunters from engaging in these hunts, and frankly, it's denying millions of dollars a year to polar bear research.
That's exactly right. Actually, from the information I get from guides and outfitters in Canada, there's more polar bears being killed now than there ever were when we had American hunters up there hunting and taking them. The American hunters made up probably almost 70% or more of the market. The natives up there are not. They're picking up the difference, and without the hunters, they're still taking the bears, because there's a pretty healthy market for the hides. And unfortunately, I don't think they're getting as much for the hides as they did when they had a sport hunter. Also, when they had a sport hunter, there were occasions when the guy just wasn't successful, even though he paid the money and went on the hunt. So there's more polar bears being taken now than there were when Americans were hunting them. So if the intent was to try and have a lower removal of polar bears, it's had the opposite effect, and that's really unfortunate. And as you know, the hunters are one of the ones that provide most all of the money that pays for conservation, and so it's as well as all the money that was going into these communities by the hunters that were up there hunting in their areas.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Ben, as always, sir, glad you could come on the program, and I look forward to talking again soon, sir.
All right, thank you. I appreciate you having us on there. I want to keep working and hope that we get those bears back.
Absolutely. Ben Carter, Executive Director of the Dallas Safari Club, joining us here tonight.